rather than tell you the story of how I became a novelist, because most people know that anyway. And if you don't, it's all in the Outlandish Companion or on my website. But one of the most frequently asked questions I get, of course, is there another Jamie and Claire book? Yeah, to which the answer is yes, there is. Oh, good. Yeah. No, I've been writing that book for the last year while finishing up Brotherhood of the Blade. I normally do work on 2 or 3 different projects at a time because it keeps me from having writer's block. And so I've just been calling it Book 7. The title for it hasn't showed up. Sometimes I get a title right away. Sometimes it takes months and months before something happens. But eventually I'll have a title for that. My husband came in just a couple of days ago and he said, well, you look really happy. And I said, oh, I am. I said, I've just written this scene and I realize it's the beginning of Book 7. I don't write in a straight line. I don't have beginnings until I write them and then don't recognize it. And I said, and having seen that, I now know that this other scene that I wrote a few months ago is the end of Book 7. And so that being so, now I know a whole lot more about what goes in between. And he said, well, being an astute man, he said, if you've seen the end of Book 7, that means you now know whether there's a Book 8 or not. I said, well, you're right, I do know that. And there it is, yes. Customarily, when I'm at home, I have an office. It's an upstairs loft, which has a lot of light and so forth, and it's a huge mess most of the time because it's covered with papers and books that I've been using. I'm a night owl. I work best between midnight and 4 a.m., and that's my main writing time. I learned to do this when I had 2 full-time jobs and 3 children under the age of 6. I can basically fall asleep anytime anyone leaves me alone for a few minutes. So, I have a biorhythm, but it's flexible. My husband, contrary-wise, likes to get up very early, around 5:30. Consequently, he goes to bed fairly early. So I tuck him in bed around 10 usually, and then I'll go lie down on the couch with a book. If nobody needs me for anything, then I'll fall asleep within 15 or 20 minutes, and I'll sleep until midnight or so, and then I wake up naturally and go upstairs to work. So I then go back to bed around 4 and get up at 9. So I stagger upstairs with a Diet Coke, and around 10:30, after doing email and the usual sort of puttering, I'm awake enough to start work. I try to do an hour or so of writing before lunch just to get a foothold on the book. My husband comes for lunch. We go run errands. During the afternoon, I might get another hour's worth of writing, but maybe not. It depends where I am in the book. I may be doing a lot of research, going to the university library, or just running household errands and so forth. Then, I do exercise, dig in my garden, make dinner. My husband and I hang out for an hour or two after dinner, and like I say, I tuck him in bed. So, so mostly in the middle of the night is the brief answer there. And then, do I ever travel to Scotland? Well, I didn't for the first book because I was not telling anyone I was writing this. It was for practice, so I didn't tell anyone, including my husband. That being so, I couldn't very well announce that I had to go to Scotland to do research. So I did do that one from library research alone. I was a research professor. That's why I chose historical fiction. I said, I know it seems easier to look things up than to make things up, and if I turn out to have no imagination, I can steal things from the historical record, which works really well. No, I do lots of research. It takes me 2 or 3 years to write one of these, not only because of the size, but because of the amount of research that goes into them. And I do all my own research. Oh, any rough idea when you can expect the next Jamie and Claire? Well, yes, I expect to have it finished myself by the end of next year. After that, it means it's up to the publisher when they would like to bring it out, but certainly sometime in 2009. And my best guess would be that it might be around summertime. I say that only because we have a new project with another division of Random House to do a graphic novel about Jamie and Claire. I mentioned this to one of my friends, and she said, I thought your novels were pretty graphic already.